First up is Wake Up by directed by RKSS, or I guess that's I didn't look up what RKSS is. It's like a group that does movies. It includes Francois Simard, Anouk Wiesel, and Joachim Karl Wiesel. So I must be brothers and siblings, at least, probably. I was excited about this movie because they are also responsible for a couple movies I quite like. One of them's Turbo Kid. I know it's kind of mm, a lot of nostalgia bait in Turbo Kid, but also I think it had a lot of cool look to it. It had a lot of interesting effects, a lot of practical effects, and I just thought overall it was a pretty neat little indie production with a lot of gore and weirdness. And then Summer of '84, which I really like, it gets lumped in as kind of a Stranger Things knockoff. But I think in a lot of ways it had a darkness to it and a real edge to it that Stranger Things doesn't have. And I really liked that little movie, kind of as a kids solving a is there a murderer living next door, kind of Fright Nightish kind of a thing, and it turned out really cool. So what is Wake Up? Wake Up is first of all, it's a pretty good movie. It's an okay movie with a really great premise. If I was to thumbnail this to somebody, like, well, why would I want to see Wake Up? I'd say, well, do you want to see IKEA the 13th? And they're like, what? What's IKEA the 13th? It's a Friday the 13th in IKEA, kind of. But instead of just sticking with the kids, you kind of go back and forth between the kids and Jason. That's kind of what you get in this movie. There's a few interesting things about this movie. So basically, these kids are stowaways in this IKEA-like store. I forget what they call it. There's a name for it, but it's House Idea is what it's called. But it's basically IKEA. These kids stow away in there. They have homemade, 3D printed like masks, and you find out really quickly they're basically like eco-terrorists. They're against what these big box, kind of furniture type stores are doing to the environment. That's kind of their goal. So it's kind of like, I guess you wanted to give another thumbnail, you could say it's kind of like how to blow up a pipeline, but where someone goes around and tries to kill a bunch of the guys from how to blow up a pipeline, which I think a lot of people ended up hating that movie, even though we liked it quite a bit. So anyway, a bunch of insufferable eco-terrorists. They think they're everything, they know what's going on, but they're not supposed to be bad guys. But they're supposed to be shown as kind of I don't know, like they're weekend warriors, basically. They stow away in this IKEA place overnight. Once it closes down, there's only a couple of security guards there. The eco-terrorist kids basically they are going to basically sneak around, and they don't think the security guard guys don't care about them anyway, probably, so they should have free reign and be able to spray paint and damage the place. And basically when people come in the morning, they're going to see all the awesomeness that these kids left behind. Of course, the kids are filming it to put on social media because that's the way they can get notification of what they've done to the world. That's the kind of the setup. The other half of the setup is you meet the security guards. The main one, Kevin, played by, I'm gonna wrote it down, Turlo Condry. He's been in a few things. He's kind of a standout here. He's a big bear of a guy, just large, you know, big beard, the whole thing. And you find out right out the gate, he's not doing too well in his life. He spends a lot of his time, practicing for those kind of survivalist sort of shows where, you kind of make improvised homemade weapons and traps and all this kind of stuff. Like one of those kind of guys that imagines he's one of those kind of, he could make it out in in nature and survive, and kill bears and stuff because he looks like a bear. He can kill a bear, you know. In fact, the opening thing is you see him making a little trap that like puts a hammer down that kills a rat. And you can see he's kind of trying out these things. He's been such a F up in his job that he's just about lost it. And he's been kind of almost punished into doing these night shifts and weekends. And he's, really upset about it. So he's kind of like the guy you could imagine becoming a shooter or something, He's the angry employee that's about ready to snap. So when he gets dropped in his lap, all these snot-nosed eco-terrorist kids, well, things might go wrong. Anyway, one thing leads to another, and he is basically stalking, trying to murder and trap and use improvised weapons on all of these kids, and they're trying to just survive inside of this IKEA overnight. And that's kind of the basic setup. I was down for this concept. I mean, what a basic, fun, simple, not too, it's not too serious. It's not too high and mighty on itself. This is the kind of thing that if you just wanted that, it kind of give you the same appeal of like a just straight ahead action movie, but not be an action movie, more of a straight ahead kind of a slasher movie with a twist. It ended up kind of disappointing me. It just wasn't that gory. It wasn't that creative with the setup that it had and with the people who were making this movie. I expected there to be a lot more weird and creative kills, a lot more, and there was some traps and stuff. It just the all the characters were kind of dumb, and that includes the killer and the kids, which once again is kind of par for a movie like this. I just wanted to be more, and it could have been gory, and I'm weird in that way. I could say it could be fun and it'd be gory, right? It just like the tone wasn't quite over the top enough. It did go there, like people weren't safe. That's the one thing I do appreciate about this movie. There were characters you thought were going to be the main characters and make it all the way through as far as the kids go and stuff. And those things didn't necessarily play out the way that you might in a really generic movie. So there was some prizes there to some degree, but also I somewhat didn't care. I really just wanted it to be a dumb killer movie. And it didn't quite go over the top on those. I'd probably go 3 stars in this movie. It's it's fun enough, and this might really, really work for some people more than it did me. I guess part of this movie's not going farther for me was partly expectation. I expected more from these filmmakers. I expected more creativity and uniqueness, and it went halfway there. It went there with concept, but not as much with execution. But all that being said, it's an easy, generally fun watch. It just wasn't fun enough for me. I put it that way. It didn't execute as much as it could have, literally and figuratively. It should have executed more. So that's Wake Up. Mild recommend.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. For more movie and television reviews and interviews, please subscribe to my Deepest Dream channel. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And as always, thanks so much for your support. Take care.